When someone asks, how should I start watching Giallo? It's almost a guarantee that somebody will say Deep Red. Deep Red is considered by many to be one of the best examples of the Giallo genre, as well as one of the best works of Argento. In fact, I've known plenty of just general horror fans that don't even really know what Giallo is that are big fans of Deep Red. But why is it that while I've gone back to revisit Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, Murder Obsession, All the Colors of the Dark, Forbidden Photos of the Lady of Suspicion, Case of the Scorpion's Tail, The House with Laughing Windows, and many, many more, I've never said to myself, man, I really want to watch Deep Red again. If this is your first time to the channel or you are a returning person, I just wanted to say that I am kind of switching gears on this channel a little bit to really streamline and focus on media primarily. So we're talking horror, Giallo, other exploitation cinema, other disturbing stuff, and heavy metal and extreme metal and things of that nature. So that's where I'm trying to steer this ship. So we're kicking it off with this Deep Red discussion. 2012 MCTG challenged me to this video. They pointed out that in my ranking Jolly video, I sort of hesitated when it came to putting Deep Red on one of my top favorites. So they posed the question, is Deep Red really all that in your opinion? And that made me sit down and rewatch Deep Red from 1975, directed by Dario Argento. And now that I have seen about 116 Jolly, I figure I have enough perspective now to come back to this and ask, is it really one of the best? Before I pushed play and watched again, there were a few things that I remember about this movie. The initial death scene, the toy imagery, the main character, the Englishman, and Daria Nicolodi, and I even remembered who the killer was, which I don't always remember. Oh, and of course the music. But I really didn't know off the top of my head what makes Deep Red so great. One of the first things I noticed in revisiting this film is you can't really write a synopsis, like the little paragraph that goes on the back or whatever, like a plot summary. You can't really make one. Try to make one right now. Okay, did you do it? Let me guess, it was something like, a man witnesses a murder and then falls down a rabbit hole trying to solve the crime. Yeah, well, here's my attempt at a plot summary / synopsis. This film is about this snooty dude named Marcus who witnesses the murder of his neighbor from the street below. He gets pulled into the mystery because local journalist Jana plasters his face all over the papers in association with the murder. Marcus is really interested in solving the case for some reason, and the killer seems to be keeping a close eye on him. Okay, it's time to put it to the test. Is Deep Red really all that great? First, we're going to talk about the good stuff. Okay, if not considered a quintessential Giallo, it's at the very least considered a quintessential Argento film. We have this astonishing, stylish camera work that is just incredible to watch. We also have, apparently this is his first partnership with Goblin, but we have this Goblin soundtrack, and I just love Goblin and Argento together. It is so much fun. The style in this film I do consider crucial to the genre, and it really cultivates an atmosphere. And in my opinion, I think Argento, I like the way he tells a story. Generally, I like his storytelling style, and in particular, I like the unique array of characters that he usually comes up with. And we get Daria Nicolodi, one of the Giallo queens, in my opinion. I really like to see her on screen. I think she has this presence that's very theatrical, yet at the same time really authentic. I don't know, she's just something else. She's great. It's been a bit too long since I've seen a Daria movie, so it was nice to see her. In this film, the elements of suspense and baffling mystery are definitely there. The killer has a nice traditional look, which just never gets old to me. And the kills and the violence are really creative and inventive. There are some scenes that are truly freaky. The performances and the dialogue are great. And ultimately, the reveal and the twisty ending, I think they're also excellent. So if there was a written code of Giallo, I think this film would definitely fall within the confines of that code. But now let's talk about the bad, the weaknesses of this movie. Our main character, I don't know, I might get crucified for saying this, but this main character, Marcus, the English pianist, I'm just not really wowed by him. I felt kind of indifferent towards him, and plus, he doesn't really have that much of a personality. I mean, all that we know is that he has certain feelings towards women, and he's a curious cat. This film implements the following of tiny, obscure little clues. Clues that you would have no way to know the relevance of. And the film gets kind of frustrating because you're watching this, but the whole time you can't tell how all these threads are connected. The film almost feels a little abstract because you're watching this mystery unfold and everyone else is having these aha moments, but you as the audience have nothing to hold on to. You have nothing to grip onto. It reminds me a lot of Four Flies on Grey Velvet in overall tone, I think, because the film feels rather detached. You don't really know why you're with these people or going to these places or why any of them even care so much. We are watching this main character break and enter into places and destroy property just with this look on his face just because he's curious. And you don't even know why this killer is doing these things. You don't even have an idea of why this killer is doing any of this. I mean, I guess it was just to kind of cover up the fact that someone almost discovered them killing, but why are they a killer? So in a lot of Giallo, you do have an idea of why the murderer is murdering. It's for drugs or for money or for revenge or even because they're a sex maniac. But in this, you got nothing. A lot of Giallo give you a red herring or a misdirection or something to have your suspicion, something to give you to come up with your own suspicions. But this film gives you nothing. It felt like they were kind of leaving us hanging for a little too long while not feeding us anything. Also in this movie, we get a lot of waiting, what I call the creeping scenes, where you are just exploring a dark hallway or going down into the basement, and it's just prolonged. And the fact that this film is an hour and 45 minutes and had so many extended sneaking creeping scenes, I'm like, this is why the film is an hour and 45 minutes? You couldn't have cut any of that out? I don't know. As for the final reveal, it kind of left you with two options. We've met about 7 people this whole movie. Is the killer going to be one of those 7 people, or is it going to be a total random complete stranger? Which is it? Guess. Ultimately, I found myself thinking that perhaps the reason why people praise this Giallo so much and always recommend it is because maybe they haven't seen that many others. You know what I mean? Okay, now for my final thoughts. Many of the traditional Giallo elements are there, particularly the style and the score. Overall, this film is vague, abstract, and at times dull. It doesn't allow you to get rooted into the characters or even really invested in the mystery. But it's a striking film for sure. Argento is one of the reasons why I fell in love with Giallo, and I'm sure it's the same case for many of you. But I think I'm gonna have to say, in my humble opinion, Deep Red is not the best shining example of a Giallo. It is not the ultimate Giallo. It's not for me anyway. Obviously, this opinion will vary from person to person. I guess what it all comes down to is what makes it a quintessential Giallo for you. This film lacks the sexy factor, and I don't mean literal sex, but just an overall sexiness, the glamour, the jet set lifestyle. It doesn't have those enticing and mysterious characters, and it doesn't really let you be a part of the mystery, because like I said, you aren't given any clues with which to create your own suspicions. So after 2012, MCTG has forced me to come face to face with my decisions and this movie once again. I think I might move it down on the tier list from top favorite to perhaps worth the hype. Obviously, it's a great movie, and it is a great example of Argento's work, and it's got plenty of thrills and surprises. But when I'm reaching for a Giallo, this is not what I'm reaching for. I know what you're asking. Well then, Katie, what is the quintessential Giallo? I don't know. Let me think on that. Maybe that can be a video one day. Because I don't know, it's like every Giallo has a piece of that. And then putting them together into a Giallo collection, that makes Giallo. You get what I'm saying? So as always, I welcome friendly debate and discussion on this topic. So if you are a Deep Red super fan, state your case below. Let's talk about it. And if you too wouldn't put Deep Red on one of the best Gialli ever, talk about why. I'm sure there are many things I failed to discuss. Thank you so much to 2012 MCTG for posing this question. Until next time, ciao for now.